Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today to another edition of a post-race analysis video on the channel. We're going to take you through what happened in both dual races at Daytona last night, and I guess earlier this morning by the time it got done. Reason why I'm filming in my car, I'm actually at work right now. Because the second race got done after midnight last night, I didn't get to bed till almost a quarter till 1 by the time I got home from my grandparents. I had to be into work at 6 a.m. in the morning, so I'm running on about 4 hours of sleep right now, and I got the stocking hat on because it's almost, I think it's like 12 degrees outside right now. Wind chill's even colder, so definitely want to stay warm while I'm in my car here for the next 10 to 15 minutes recording this video on my lunch. So thanks for everybody tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Boy, was there controversy in both races, particularly at the end yesterday. We're going to take you through pretty much what went down in the race. You start off with dual race number one. I think right out of the gate, Alex Bowman dropped to the back. They were going 3 by 3 by 3 for about the first 15 laps of the race. I was quite surprised that they were racing that early, especially when you had 3 guys in the field that were racing to get into the 500. They had a lot to lose, but boy, they were trying to charge to the front as soon as they possibly could. I was surprised like the NBM cars between both dual races were able to stay in the lead pack. A lot of the cars were able to stay in the lead pack pretty much up until pit stops in both races today. Especially in the first race, going 3 by 3 by 3. Then they went single file for about another 10 to 15 laps. I think that was trying to get organized so that way they knew when they came to pit road, they can be organized at that point in time. This first race went caution-free through the entire 60 laps. The two fastest cars by far were Eric Almirola and Joey Logano. Both those two drivers were up in the front of the field for the entire race. I think Denny Hamlin was fast too because he dropped to the back as soon as they started going 3 by 3 by 3 in the opening laps. And then as soon as they got to double file or single file, he was able to charge all the way back up into the top 5. So I think those were the 3 fastest cars. No surprise, that's what I predicted in the predictions video because those 3 are probably the 3 best on the super speedways that were in this race. Stenhouse actually disappointed, I thought. Ryan Preece was the better of the 2 JTG Doherty cars. I thought Ricky Stenhouse was going to pull off a pretty good opportunity to win the race because, in fact, he was my prediction to win the race, but he was pretty much outside the top 10 most of the day. He tried to charge to the front with Hamlin when Hamlin dropped to the back because Stenhouse dropped to the back at the same time, but he could not charge to the field anywhere near as fast as Hamlin, nor really at all. So Stenhouse kind of disappointed. He was my prediction going into Speed Weeks for the 500 win. I have to say that's probably not going to be the case anymore when that predictions video comes out after final practice on Saturday. As of the other 2 drivers, Eric Almirola and Joey Logano, they put on a show at the end of the race. Once the cycling of pit stops happened, that really kind of spaced out the field. The Fords were on top from that point in time. The Toyota's strategy was really weird. All 3 of them, there were only 3 in that race, came down to pit road by themselves instead of going with the Fords or the Chevys, and that ended up costing them, especially Denny Hamlin, because he came out a couple seconds ahead of his other 2 drivers that were Toyotas that went down pit road with him, included Ty Dillon, and then actually Timmy Hill joined into that group as well for whatever reason, probably because he was racing the 96 and Ty Dillon, but it ended up being at the end of the day, none of them got in. When the Fords came to pit road, Austin Cindric actually had a pit road speeding penalty that looked like it was going to take him out of a chance to make it into the Daytona 500. But because Ryan Preece beat Ty Dillon back to the line at the end of the race, Ty Dillon gets the final, Austin Cindric gets the qualifying time, and Ryan Preece raced his way in. We'll get to that controversy here in a second. There was a great photo finish between Eric Almirola and Joey Logano. They went into turn 3 on the final lap of the race. Almirola had the lead. He gave up the bottom thinking Joey was going to go to the top. Joey did a great cut up and under move, got underneath of Eric Almirola, and I thought the race was over when Almirola did not protect the bottom. I was surprised he didn't protect the bottom and tried to make Joey pass him on the outside, but especially in the center of the corner. Very surprised by that move. But before Logano had a chance to clear him off turn 4, Eric Almirola was able to side draft him right back, and Almirola beats him back to the line by about a couple feet. So great finish there to that race. I was thoroughly entertained both by the start and the finish. Yeah, people are going to say it was dry in the middle portion, but they were really trying to get single file so they could make it to pit road without wrecking there. You see that all the time on the super speedways, so no surprise there. And I was expecting, honestly, to see more single file racing in both races last night, so quite surprised by that as well. Now, the controversy lies as Ryan Preece barely beat Ty Dillon to the line by a couple feet himself to knock Ty Dillon out of his chances of winning the Daytona 500. I'm one person that tries to look at both sides of the argument and then make my final decision. Because my first instance was like, yeah, Ty Dillon should be in the 500, you would think, because Ryan Preece already qualified his way in. Why should his results matter? But because, and this is why I think NASCAR has this rule, even though it's a little bit more confusing. The reason being is because the Daytona Duels actually start the lineup for the 500 outside of the front row. So with Ryan Preece qualifying good, and he locked himself in, he still had to race in the dual race to try and improve his position. And because he was the highest finishing drivers of the Open, therefore that's why he would have made it on racing his way in, because that is the final result. If you guys get, it's a little confusing, yes, but it literally took me 3 or 4 times thinking it through. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to think how NASCAR is thinking about this rule. So again, because Ryan Preece won the duel, Ty Dillon, or won the duel with the other Open drivers, who's the highest finishing Open driver in the duel, that's why he raced his way in, and Ty Dillon qualified, Austin Cindric qualified his way in, because those are the final, I guess, technically qualifying races for the Daytona 500. I guess I didn't explain that very well. Because that sets the lineup for the Daytona 500 and not qualifying itself, that's why they have to revert to the dual races first and then qualifying. So I guess that was the better way of explaining it instead of rambling on. Sorry, I'm trying to get this out in a hurry because I only have about 20 minutes to make this video. So thanks for that. Okay. Anyway, now we get into dual race number 2. They had a rain delay before the start of the race, and quite surprisingly, also in that first race, by the way, Alex Bowman dropped out. He was under power at one point in time, actually fell 2 laps down. He might have to go to a backup car if they can't figure out what's wrong with the reason why he went under power, whether it was an engine issue. If they have to change an engine, then they have to go to the back. If they can get it repaired in time before the race on Sunday, then they will be good to go. They'll start on the pole, but that's definitely a little bit of a scary situation for you Bowman fans out there. William Byron started on the pole for dual race number 2, and he was racing all the way throughout. I was very surprised. Even when things were getting intense, they went 3 by 3 by 3 for about the first 10 to 15 laps, just like they did in the first race, which I was surprised that happened in both races. But regardless of the fact, he was still up there battling for the lead. He was leading a lot of laps. I think Byron had the fastest of the 4 Chevys in the dual races last night, for sure. I think it was pretty much clear that he had the fastest car out of the Hendricks, and I think he had, honestly, the fastest Chevy overall between both races. Bubba Wallace impressed as well. He probably had one of the faster cars. I think Bubba Wallace had the fastest car. He was able to push cars to the front of the field if he was second in line. Whether it was the inside or the outside, he was able to drive up to the front, leading the charge on the inside or the outside. I think Bubba Wallace has the fastest car, to be quite honest. The only difference is why Eric Almirola, in my opinion, might be the favorite as of right now, or Denny Hamlin, guys like that, is just because of their experience level and already winning at super speedways and proven that they are good on super speedways. Bubba Wallace hasn't won a race yet. That's the only thing holding him back. I know he hasn't been in great equipment, but even on the super speedways, he shows flashes of brilliance. We saw that with Petty. He had a runner-up in the Daytona 500. He is a very good super speedway racer, but he has not won a race yet. Therefore, the confidence level, both in himself and on the outside peers watching the sport, could probably say that he isn't the favorite for that reason, and I completely and 100% understand. I think Bubba Wallace takes it too hard on himself, too, because at the end of the race, he was upset with himself. He didn't really make any mistakes. He was very aggressive. At times, he probably didn't have to be aggressive, especially in a qualifying race. But I get trying to, do new things. It's almost like a practice session at the same time, too, with the lack of practice nowadays. So I don't blame him for that. But when he doesn't win, man, he puts himself down. I'm one for putting myself down too hard and being hard on myself, too. And it can definitely take you into some bad places. So I trust and hope that Bubba Wallace doesn't keep doing this, because it will affect him in the long run over time. I think he's got to try to, I don't mean to be mean here, but you don't want to push yourself like Kyle Busch does, because Kyle obviously has the talent for it, and he's one of the greatest we've seen over the last 10 to 15 years, so you can't really put yourself on the same level as that he obviously has a lot of pressure from the media. I'm sure that adds on to it, but Bubba Wallace will be good in this 23 car this season. He was a prediction of mine to make it into the playoffs on points. He might win a race, but I think he'll at least point his way in. Now back to the dual races. It came down to the finish of the race. Now I'm going to show you a quick little clip that I'm going to insert right here of the finish of the race, because Bubba Wallace passed below the double yellow line. A lot of people that I saw at least late last night before I went to bed, at least, I went to bed pretty close after the end of the race, so I didn't get to see anything this morning with work. But I watched that replay a couple times before I made this video, and he did pass below the double yellow line on both the 19 and the 3 on the back straightaway when he made that 3-wide pass to take the lead. It ended up being he didn't win the race anyway. Austin Dillon was able to side draft his way. We had another photo finish back to the line, and Austin Dillon was able to win dual race number 2, somebody I did not expect. I know I said that Byron had the fastest Chevy, but Byron actually got in a wreck late in this race. David Reagan, just like Ryan Preece, was able to not only qualify well enough on Wednesday night, but he raced his way in, and Kaz Grala ended up getting the qualifying time. So Grala gets the last spot despite being involved in an accident that Garrett Smithley and Brad Keselowski got together. And that was just hard racing. I thought on first instance that Smithley tried to fit into a gap that just wasn't there. That wasn't the case. Keselowski kind of came up as Smithley was going down. It was just a racing deal at that point. And luckily, it only took out like 4 or 5 cars. But unfortunately for Byron, it took him out. He definitely has to go to a backup car. There's no way they're going to be able to get that car fixed. The rear of the car was very severely damaged. And they're probably going to have to go to like a backup battery or something too. So yeah, backup car it is for William Byron. 90% chance at least of that. So he'll be starting from the rear in the 500. So as far as the best Chevy goes, I don't know now because Byron's out of the race. So maybe Austin Dillon is the best Chevy now. So yeah, here is that clip of the WL line rule, and we'll get to the. So as you see right here, Truex tries to block the outside real quick, and Wallace goes clearly below the WL line to pass Truex. Again, you probably have to watch it a couple times. Let me rewind it there for one quick second. Show you guys again. It's very fast. I know he's getting pushed by Kyle Busch, but him and Kyle Busch, in fact, actually went below the WL line to pass Truex. Neither one of those two got penalized as far as I know, and it looks like they're going to keep their finishing positions as they both finished inside the top 5 and the move by. So again, like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys for a predictions video before the Daytona 500. Join into the live streams as NASCAR Speed Weeks continues for NASCAR 05 this week. Truck Series racing tonight at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so also tune in for that. We do realistic broadcasts on the daily because I want to get into NASCAR as far as broadcasting. That is my dream job. That is why I started this YouTube channel. So thanks for everybody following me on that journey, and I will see you guys next time. Again, like, share, subscribe, and also join the Fantasy League if you haven't already on the NASCAR app. Search for the league, KRC League, hit join. We will have a weekly prize every single week and a grand prize at the end of the year as well. So I highly recommend joining that. It'll be a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.